the deep man. First of 2 innings this year between the Redskins and the Eagles. Philadelphia has won 8 of the last 9. And we are underway from the bench. Staley 4 yards deep in the end zone. Staley still on his feet across the 20, finally upended at the 22-yard line by Darrell Pounds. 25-yard return by Staley. The 1990 Heisman Trophy winner, Ty Detmer, at the helm for the Philadelphia Eagles. The men protecting Detmer, Mayberry, Panos, Everett, coming over from the Ravens, Beckles and Brooks. Waters, the All-Pro with Kevin Turner, Irving Fryer, Michael Timpson are the wide receivers, and the tight end is Jason Dunn. First down for the Eagles from their own 22-yard line. Ricky Waters up the middle, a gain of 2 on first down. Redskins defensively 29th against the run. 2 starters are out, Chris Mims and Kennard Lang, so they will be replaced by Mark Boutte and William Gaines. The linebacking core, Smith, the rookie from Arizona State, with Patton and Harvey. And the strength of this Washington defense, the cornerbacks, 15-year veteran Darrell Green and the longtime Houston Oiler, Chris Dishman. Second down and 8. The tight end Johnson in motion. Here's Waters again, and he was wrapped up by Mark Boutte.
Well, we said that the Eagles need to come into this game running the football, and that's what they're doing. Unfortunately, they're not winning the battle up front. Now, we know because the Washington Redskins have got Chris Dishman and Darrell Green at their cornerbacks, it frees up the safety, Jesse Campbell, enables them to play an 8-man front almost exclusively. The Philadelphia offensive line has got to get pushed and open up some holes if that run game is going to work.
3 wide receivers. Detmer had trouble with the snap. Detmer fumbled 3 times last week, and the Eagles go 3 and out.
There are 2 things going against Ty Detmer. One is his performance last week. Critical turnovers in the red zone area, denying the Philadelphia Eagles 2 scores at least against the Minnesota Vikings. Secondly, Kenny, Detmer is 0-1 against the Redskins, while his backup Rodney Peete is 3-0. Those numbers are big in Ray Rhodes' mind.
And it was Rhodes who pointed out those numbers to us yesterday morning. Tommy Hutton, who usually tries to keep it away from Brian Mitchell, but Mitchell will have a chance for the return across the 40 to the 42-yard line before he was taken down by James Darling. 47 yards on the punt by Hutton, 13-yard return by Mitchell. Gus Frerotte, who tied his career high last week in the victory over Jacksonville with 3 touchdowns. He found 8 different receivers against the Jaguars last Sunday. Bordanish with Patton, Ulanate, Trey Johnson, his second game back from an injury, and Ed Simmons. Jerry Allen, 200-yard games this year with Larry Bowie. Michael Westbrook and Leslie Shepard are the wideouts, and the tight end is the Redskins' leading receiver, Jamie Asher. Good field position. They start from the 42-yard line. Play action. Frerotte looks downfield. The intended receiver was Leslie Shepard, but he was out of bounds. Coverage on the play from Troy Vincent. As we check out the Eagles, ranked 16th defensively. Mamula with Hall, Hollis Thomas, and the rookie John Harris out of the University of Virginia. William Thomas, the Eagles' leading tackler, is James Willis, and Ray Farmer for the injured Darren Smith. And the secondary. Zordich, the quarterback of the Eagles defense. Second down and 10. And the Redskins keep it on the ground with Terry Allen across the 45 to the 47-yard line before he was brought down by William Thomas.
And the problem that the Philadelphia defense has had more than anything has been their pass rush up front. The only time they've gotten consistent pressure has been when Emmett Thomas, the coordinator, has called blitzes. Now is a situation, 3rd down and 5. It's a passing situation. The Eagles need to put pressure on Gus Frerotte. Frerotte has gotten better and better as this season has gone along. And if you give him time back there, he will find one of his receivers.
3 wide receivers. Frerotte, quick drop. The slant is deflected. He was looking for Michael Westbrook. Charles Dimry, who came over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got a piece of it.
And it's nice coverage by Dimmer. He gets the inside position. It's a simple slant pattern. He gets the inside position, throws his hand in there, and breaks up that pass. It's just perfect coverage. Dimry was a guy that the Redskins thought they could take advantage of. Well, so far they can't.
Matt Turk, Pro Bowler last year, will take the snap from his brother Dan. Troy Vincent is back deep. Mark Say inactive today. Say committed a major faux pas last week on a punt return. It bounces out of bounds inside the 20. 34-yard punt by Turk.
Who cares of the past?
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to fly. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's? And by Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be.
Kenny Albert, Jim Green back in Philadelphia. Both teams go 3 and out on their opening drives. Eagles back to work from their own 19-yard line. Ricky Waters, the lone back, and Detmer swings it out to Waters. 1st down and more. Finally run out of bounds at the 39-yard line. We spoke in the open. The Eagles want to get the ball into the hands of the backs, and it doesn't matter how they do it.
And not only is Ricky Waters happy on this play, offensive coordinator John Gruden is happy on this play. Again, it's a West Coast offense. Everybody's happy. It's a pass, but it's a short pass. You get the ball in the hands of Ricky Waters, out in space with limited defenders against him. That's where he is very, very strong.
A short pass that turns into a 20-yard pickup. From the 39, play action again. Detmer, this time to Kevin Turner. And another Eagles 1st down.
And this is more of the same. This is getting the ball into the hands of your running backs, whether it's Ricky Waters, Charlie Garner, or Kevin Turner. This is exactly what the Eagles want to do. It's what John Gruden wants to do. And you have to know this about last week's game. I talked about Ty Detmer's interceptions. Last week against Minnesota, Detmer was instructed to take a chance, to throw it, to push it upfield, to take a chance. Today, they're going to restrict their passing game and attack the middle of the Redskins defense.
Here's Waters following the 16-yard pickup from Detmer to the fullback Turner. Chris Dishman up from the left corner made the stop after the 2-yard pickup.
Well, Kenny, you talked in the Fox Watch on the pregame show about the injuries to the Washington Redskins. Kennard Lang out at defensive end with an ear infection. And then Chris Mims, who really has been the best defensive lineman for the Redskins, he's out with an abdominal muscle pull. So this was a defensive line that was already a suspect unit because they were number 29 in the league against the run. Now they're even more depleted. But, hey, so far today, they've done a nice job against the run.
Detmer on 2nd and 8. Turner unable to hang on. Rich Owens on the coverage. So the Redskins, you mentioned the 2 injuries on the defensive line. They only have 2 backup defensive linemen, and one, Kelvin Kinney, has never played in the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. So if they have to go into their depth, they may be in a little bit of trouble today. You noticed on that last play, Kenny, Rich Owens tipping that ball. That's one of the focuses of the Redskins defensive line today. They haven't been great at getting pressure up the field against a quarterback. They know Ty Detmer is only 6 foot with a low release. They're going to get their hands up a lot.
3rd and 8. Detmer over the top has the 1st down. Freddie Solomon, the 2nd-year man out of South Carolina State, for a gain of 13.
Again, what you're seeing is a passing game that's attacking the middle of the field. The short middle of the field passing game is the strength of Ty Detmer. His strength is not the deep out. His strength is not the 9. This is his area of strength. You can graph it out just like that, and then here's the throw right here, right in the center of the field. Ty Detmer, not only being tough and resilient, has great accuracy on the shorter passes.
Ricky Waters pulls his way inside the 20.
And this is the strength of the Eagles. This is what we talked about, why they need to do. They need to get the ball into this man's hands. They've had problems with their pass protection. So far, you notice the passes today, short passes, play action. Now here it is, right up the center of the field. A nice hole opens up there, nice blocking. That's where the Eagles' offensive line is the strongest, with their center, Everett, their guards, Beckles, and Panos.
Gain of 12, another Philadelphia first down. 3 wide receivers. Return of the fullback leading the way. This is Waters inside the 15 before he was brought down by Mark Boutte.
Now what the Eagles, since everything's working, the short pass, the intermediate pass, the run game, what the Eagles offense is doing now is they're starting to spread the Redskins defense. You see this? They've got 1, 2, 3 wide receivers. They spread it out, and that opens it up in the middle. It draws the safeties out towards their coverage, and it creates a bigger soft spot in the middle of the Redskins defense.
Charlie Garner has joined Waters in the Eagles backfield. This is Garner, who's had major success against the Redskins in his career. He's a native of the Washington area, Fairfax, Virginia.
What a great luxury to have. Again, you talk about using the strengths that you have. And the Eagles are very strong at the running back position because they've got Ricky Waters. They've also got Charlie Garner. They're strong at fullback. They're strong at 1 wide receiver position with Irving Fryer. Ray Rhodes knows this. And that's why he said to John Gruden this week, he said, look, I don't want to run the ball 20 times a game. Yeah, we're going to do some passing, but let's shorten the passing game up. Let's go to the safer passes, and then once we get the defense spread out, there's John Gruden right there. Once we get the defense spread out, let's attack them with what we've got best. That's a strong run game up the middle with 2 strong running backs.
Eagles about a half-yard short. So it will be 3rd down and 1 from just outside the Redskins' 10-yard line.
You think 3rd down and 1 is important to the guys up front, the running backs, because it's probably going to be a run play. It's most important to this guy right here, Ty Detmer, because he knows he's got to perform in the red zone. He's got to lead that offense into the end zone when they get close. That's what he struggled with last week against Minnesota.
2 tight ends. 3rd down and 1. Waters cuts it back inside and picks up the first down. So it will be 1st and goal for the Eagles. Marcus Patton made the tackle.
That's just strong running right there. We're going to see if we can hear what that thing sounded like. I want you to try to hear the load that Ricky Waters brings when he hits the line of scrimmage, when he hits the defenders. That's a load. You know, that's the crack of pads.
1st and goal from the 8. This is Waters. And once again, it was Patton.
You know, Kenny, while the Philadelphia offense has struggled a little bit, especially last game in the red zone, this is really where the Redskins defense is at its best. They drop usually 4 guys into coverage. They do a 4 deep zone. And everybody else focuses on the run game.
2nd and goal. Waters inside the 5. Now to the 4-yard line. Derek Smith made the stop, so it will be 3rd and goal for the Eagles.
And you can do this as a defense. And there you see Smith. You can do that as a defense. You can allow an offense to move the whole way down the field. The time where you really check what you're about as a football player in the NFL is right down here on the goal line. If the Redskins defense can hold, they'll forget all about the long drive Ty Detmer put together, and they'll feel like they're the winners.
Detmer looking end zone, can't find anyone, keeps it himself, flag thrown, touchdown indicated. Flag on the play. Our referee today is Gary Lane.
It's going to be
against the Redskins.
Yeah. And this is why you love this kid right here. We talked about the things he had going against him earlier.
Defense, number 93.
This is the thing he's got going for him. Right here. Nothing doing. There's that 4 deep coverage. Nothing happening. He just throws his body. You know, his mom says, hey, Ty may be a small guy, 6 foot. This side is 200 pounds, but he's tough. He's Texas tough. And, you know, when he walks into a room, you'd never imagine it. He's congenial, big smile, kind of quiet. But, man, is that guy tough.
Chris Poniol hands the extra point. Second career rushing touchdown for Ty Detmer, and the second rushing touchdown for the Eagles this season. Back in Philadelphia, 7-0 first quarter lead for the Eagles. 12-play drive, and Ty Detmer scores his first touchdown of the season.
There's the play selection, Kenny. We talked about running the football. 8 runs, only 4 passes. That is almost a complete inversion of their run-to-pass ratio so far this season.
Chris Poniol kicks it off. A very short kickoff handled by Mark Logan. Cuts to the outside and is taken down at the 27-yard line by Deuce Staley. 8-yard return by Logan.
Green Bay is a small town. When someone leaves here.
Terry Allen of the Redskins carried the ball a career-high 36 times against Jacksonville last week, despite his broken left thumb.
Yeah, well, last week they called this a cast. Now they're calling it a splint, just in case you wondered. The difference between a cast and a splint: a cast is plaster, and a splint is hard plastic. So there's not that much of a difference, but just semantics.
Well, cast, splint. In any event, it's Allen on first down, and he was met by the middle linebacker, James Willis.
Yeah, and this is the guy that Ray Rhodes, you know, Ray Rhodes smiles a lot. Even when they're 1-3, Ray Rhodes is a buoyant character. But boy, does he break out in a big smile when he talks about James Willis. He says, this guy likes to hit. Now, I've got other linebackers that are talented, William Thomas and Farmer. Those guys can run and play, great athletes. But Willis likes to hit.
Second down and 9. Allen again finds a hole out across the 35, and Michael Zordich came up from the strong safety to take down Allen.
Well, Zordich is a big factor in playing the run, being the safety. He's also the kind of an assistant coach on the field. The guy that makes this work, though, or not work, is Mamula. I want you to see the block that Bowie puts on him. You see that? Whenever your fullback or your tight end can define the hole that way, it's a win for the offense, and Terry Allen is going to gash him. Mamula needs to take that block on. He's the bigger of the 2 guys. He needs to crush the tight end and the fullback and close down the hole.
Eagles call timeout on 3rd and 1. We'll return to Philadelphia in a moment.
Sunday, October 19th.
Back at the vet in Philadelphia, 3rd down and 1 upcoming for the Washington Redskins, who lead the NFL, Tim, in 3rd down conversions.
Yeah, a part of the reason is because they're so good on 1st and 2nd down with Terry Allen. He usually picks up about 4 yards to carry, so that leaves you in 3rd and short, which is a good running situation for the offense.
And this is Terry Allen. Close to first down yardage. It was Michael Zordich again. And the question is where the officials spot the football.
Well, the thing that makes this play work, if in fact it works, is this guy right here, Larry Bowie. We saw him blocking Mamula earlier. I want you to watch the block that he puts on Zordich right there. And that's the block that defines the hole. Now, you notice Zordich, who is the strong safety and not as big as Mamula, he closed that hole down much better. In fact, look at that. He closed it down well enough to keep him out of the first down. That's impressive. That's an impressive play for a strong safety to go in there against a real stout fullback. Norv Turner loves Bowie because he's about 6 foot, 250 pounds. He's stout. He packs a punch. But Zordich won that battle. He closed it down just enough.
Now the Redskins also lead the NFL in 4th down conversion rate, but will not go for it. So Troy Vincent is back deep. Second punt of the afternoon for Matt Turk. Still no first downs for the Redskins. They go 3 and out on each of their first 2 possessions. End over end. And it takes a Redskins bounce. And Darryl Pounds chases it down. And the Eagles will be pinned inside the 10-yard line. Although a flag was thrown. 54 yards on the punt by Turk, but he may have to do it again.
You notice Troy Vincent wasn't going anywhere near that thing, right?
Not after what happened to Mark Say last week.
Say messed around with a wayward punt last week, and he got deactivated this week. And that's the kind of thing Ray Rhodes will cut you for.
Holding on the kicking team prior to the kick, number 54. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
Greg Jones, the rookie out of Colorado, called for the hold. And interestingly, Tim, it will not be Troy Vincent this time as the Eagles send Freddie Solomon back deep.
Well, they got a bevy of guys to do the return duties. They got Vincent. They may do Solomon. They said we might even see Irving Fryer back there or Michael Timpson. So they really don't know exactly what it is they want to do back there with Mark Say inactivated.
Turk back at his own 12. First quarter from the bench. Eagles lead 7-0 on the 3-yard touchdown run by quarterback Ty Detmer. Solomon calls for a fair catch, so the Eagles will start from the 25-yard line. 48-yard punt by Turk. And for a McDonald's game break, let's head to Kevin Hart.
Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
All right, thanks, Kevin. The Philadelphia Eagles nearly beat the Cowboys a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but for a fumbled hold on a PAT, not a PAT, a field goal at the end of the game.
A potential game-winning field goal. Here's Kevin Turner, finds a hole, first down and more. In Redskins territory, he was finally chased down by Jesse Campbell. A 30-yard run for Turner.
Now, how about what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing with this run game? I want you to watch Barrett Brooks pull around and just lay a whale of a block out here. Watch this. You talk about defining something. He knocks Stanley Richard completely around, and then Kevin Turner just turns it on. Turner, one of the most reliable players on the Eagles team. Barrett Brooks, who you see there, a guy who struggled at the point of attack, just made a name for himself on a pulling play.
Here's Waters, close to another first down. Flag is thrown. That run by Turner of 30 yards, the longest run this season by the Eagles, and the longest play against the Redskins this year. They had not allowed a play of any type, a run or a pass or a return of more than 25 yards.
Now they got him for holding.
Holding, 72 on the offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Kenny, you may wonder why the Eagles are 1-3. I mean, part of the reason may be this right here. You look at that, they're number 29 in penalties, 8.5 a game. They're 1-3, and then, well, hey, how come the Redskins are 3-1? Look at that. The fewest penalties per game of any team in the National Football League. Penalties, setback, drive. This is not a good situation. 1st and 20. You see the Eagles come out 4 wides. They got to pass the ball now.
On their own 44-yard line, here's Waters. Back into Redskins territory. A gain of 7. Marcus Patton made the stop.
You know, I like the run and I like the commitment to the run. And even on 1st and 20, but the fact is now the Eagles they're going to have to throw the football if they're going to pick up a first down on this series because of that holding penalty. You look at the rush yards. I mean, you're winning the battle. 74 yards on the ground. It's not even, the first quarter's not even over.
Detmer on 2nd and 13 fires. Is looking for Freddie Solomon, but the pass was behind him.
This is the problem that Ty Detmer has had so far this season. And we say once he gets out of his range, his balls are a little less accurate. On this one here, I believe he throws it behind Solomon. You see that? He threw it behind him, and that's exactly what he did in Minnesota against the Vikings last year. Once he got out of that intermediate throwing, his balls started to lag behind the receivers. This is where he's at his best, in the center and up on the sides.
3rd down and 13. Detmer dumps it off. Waters.
Look at that.
And he has the first down inside the red side.
Wow. Wow. You want to talk about strength as a runner? That's strong. He broke 2 tackles on that play to make that first down. Watch this here. Again, do what you do best. Here's a little screen pass, all right? Let those guys come through. Now look at Water. Look at the strength here. What? That's strength. You got a guy on your legs, you bust it. An arm on your legs, you bust it. Now you make a cut. Look at that. He's tackled by Patton. He drags Patton for 5 yards to pick up that first down. And another terrible sign for the Redskins. Look at that. Chris Dishman being let off the field. Don't forget, that's why the Redskins defense is #1 against the pass, because Dishman and Green have done such an outstanding job. You know who did another outstanding job was Pam Oliver with her interview with those 2 guys on the pregame show.
Darryl Pounds replaces Chris Dishman at left corner. So on 3rd and 13, Waters picked up 16. First down from the Washington 34. Charlie Garner. Short game. So Garner with his 2nd carry of the afternoon. Eric Smith, the first Redskin, in on the stop, the 3rd round draft pick out of Arizona State. As Chris Dishman checks back in.
That's good for the Redskins. Now what the Redskins have got to do, they just got to start going man on those wide receivers and load everybody else up on the inside, shut that run down.
3 wideouts. Michael Timpson in motion. Garner with a big burst up the middle. And another Eagles first down. And 10 yards for Charlie Garner.
I want you to watch it, the hole that opens up right here, Kenny. When you have a hole like this, somebody's doing their blocking. Look at Beckles and Everett and Panos right up the middle. All 3 of those guys in the center, they didn't just get a body on a body. They each blocked a man out of the play, created a lane for Garner.
And that will do it for the first quarter, with the Eagles on top by the score of 7-0, and they've done it on the ground.
Have a pleasant.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. 1 quarter complete, and the Eagles lead the Redskins by the score of 7-0. Kenny Albert and Tim Green with you, and we spoke in the open about the fact that the Eagles wanted to get the ball into the hands of their running backs, and they've done a terrific job going with all 3, Waters, Turner, and Garner.
Right, you run straight at the weakness of the defense. The weakness of the Redskins defense has been stopping the run. Eagles are running the ball, and they've also restricted their passing game to where Ty Detmer is at his best, in the center of the field and the short screen passes and dumps to the backs on the outside.
Detmer faked the pass, the inside handoff to Kevin Turner, and he was wrapped up by William Gaines.
Well, Kenny, this is exactly what we're talking about as far as the pass distribution for the Eagles. Look at this here. Wide receivers have gotten only 2 passes their way, completed only 1. Here's the key. 4 passes to the running backs, 3 of them complete for 51 yards. That's a great game plan. It's a smart way to attack your opponent. Go at their weakness.
2nd down and 9. Play action. Detmer steps up, fires, has the first down to the 1-yard line. First catch of the game for Michael Timpson, a gain of 22 yards.
What makes this work, believe it or not, the run game. Here's the play action pass. Fake the run, draw the safeties up towards the line of scrimmage. By the time they realize it's not a run and they try to recover, it's too late for the underneath guy, Stanley Richard, to effect this pass. Nice throw by Ty Detmer. He threw that ball into his danger zone, and he threw it well.
Waters.
Wow. Oh, man. I don't think I've ever seen a guy go over the pile like that. Ricky Waters looked like he hit a springboard.
Or a trampoline.
Something. He hit something. That kind of deal will get you a shoe contract if nothing else will.
If he doesn't already have one. Boniol. 9 plays, 75-yard drive, culminating with the second rushing touchdown of the season for Ricky Waters.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Isuzu, builders of the completely reinvented 1998 Isuzu Rodeo. Isuzu, go farther. By Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
Back in Philadelphia, Chris Boniol getting set to kick it off for the Eagles. The Redskins defense had not allowed a touchdown in the last 2 games. The Eagles have already entered the end zone twice. They lead 14-0. And here's Brian Mitchell from the 2. Mitchell cuts it to the outside. Stopped just shy of the 20-yard line. Combination of Brian Dawkins and James Darling, 18 yards on the return.
Well, Kenny, Ricky Waters is the guy who scores, but I want you to watch what happens here on the line of scrimmage. There isn't a Redskin defender standing this side of the end zone, of the goal line. Look at this great blocking up front. Look at that. They're just mauling guys, mashing guys. Everybody's blocked, and that enables Ricky Waters to come in unencumbered. It's just a great effort all around. It was a great leap by Ricky Waters, but man, his front guys did a great job of making sure there were no obstructions in the way. Never want obstructions.
The Redskins have been instructed. They've gone 3 and out on both of their offensive series. Farrat now 0 for 3. The intended receiver was Leslie Shepard.
You look at this ball control graphic, Kenny, you see that Philadelphia not only dominating on the scoreboard, but 13 minutes off the clock compared to Washington's 3. So coming into this game, the Redskins were excellent at 3rd down conversions. Number 1 in the league. They're 0 for 2 right now.
On 2nd down, play action. Farrat now 0 for 4. Redskins out of sync offensively.
Well, Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylor are doing a nice job covering the Redskins wide receivers. They felt they matched up good, and they do. When your wide receivers are covered in North Turner's offense, that means you have to go to your fullback, your running back, and your tight end. The Redskins have got to do what the Eagles already are. Run the ball and get the short passing game going.
3rd and 10. Farrat out of the shotgun. 3 wide receivers. Farrat in trouble. Dumps it off. Catch is made by Brian Mitchell, and he has the first down. What a terrific second effort by both Farrat and Mitchell.
It really was. And we talked about Ty Detmer when he ran that ball into the end zone for the Eagles and showed his toughness. This guy, Gus Farrat, is just as tough. And it's tough because, hey, I've seen quarterbacks back in this pocket. They get that kind of pressure, and they start to protect themselves. Guys like Detmer and Farrat, they just hang in, and they get the ball off somehow, some way. That's what Farrat does here. And then Brian Mitchell makes it happen. Because, look, it's a bad pass, a low pass. He uses his great catchability to pick it up off the ground, and then his speed to pick up the first down.
A gain of 20, and the Redskins' first down today. Farrat to the air once again. This time it is Terry Allen. Gain of 5 yards before he was hit by linebacker Ray Farmer.
And this is what they need to do. This is what we talked about only moments ago. If your wide receivers are having trouble getting open, against the defensive backs. So far, the Redskins wide receivers have had trouble. Remember, we saw even Charles Dimmery breaking up a pass to Michael Westbrook earlier on. When you get your passing game down to your running backs, you start to chip away towards the inside. You shift the focus of the safeties and the linebackers back toward the middle. Then you go back out to your wide guys.
Second down and 5. Allen loses a yard on the delayed handoff. Brett Hall, along with Hollis Thomas, made the stop.
Well, this play's part Hollis Thomas, but it's part Emmett Thomas. Hollis Thomas, because he makes it. Look at that, disruption in the backfield. Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator, because he called an aggressive run blitz defense. When you see a guy this big, I mean, he's 6 foot, about 310. When you see him rushing up through the middle of the field like that, right into the backfield, you know it's a blitz. I mean, he's big and strong, but he doesn't have the quickness to play off a block and get up there. When he's up there, he's going from the start.
Brunt saw something he did not like, calls timeout. Second quarter, 14-0 Eagles. Back in Philadelphia, Kenny Albert with Tim Green. Third down and 5 upcoming for the Redskins. They trail the Eagles by the score of 14-0.
Yeah, this is where the Redskins are at their best. Number 1 in the NFL, Gus Frerotte is 65%, 65.8% to be exact completion in this situation.
Frerotte with 3 wide receivers, airing it out. The intended receiver was Alvin Harper, the former Cowboy and Buccaneer. Willie Clark on the coverage. Alvin Harper made his first 2 receptions of the season last week. But again, the Redskins will be forced to punt.
Well, it comes up just short. You have to give Willie Clark credit. Gus Frerotte got to throw this ball where no one can catch it except Alvin Harper. And he puts it just a little too far beyond Alvin Harper so that no one can catch it but Alvin Harper, including Alvin Harper. You follow the logic there. You're a smarter man than I.
And there is Freddie Solomon back deep for the Eagles. Third punt of the day for Matt Turk. Good hang time. And it bounces into the end zone. So the Eagles will start from their own 20-yard line. 55-yard punt by Turk. Only 35 net. Beautiful aerial shots here in Philadelphia, provided today by the 200-foot-long Fujifilm blimp with captains John McHugh and Eddie Wynn at the controls. So our thanks to John and Eddie. We welcome you back inside Veterans Stadium. First down, Eagles start from their own 20-yard line. Their last 2 drives have resulted in touchdowns. Detmer with the quick slant, and the catch is made by the tight end, Jason Dunn, his 4th catch of the season. A gain of 4 yards. Tim, our Aflac trivia question. Who holds both the Eagles and the Redskins single-season touchdown pass record?
And it's one guy.
Yes, the most touchdown passes in one season for both Philadelphia and Washington.
That's my hint. It's one single guy holds it for both.
On second down, ball is loose.
We're signaling that it's the Redskins' ball.
Derek Smith. It looks as if Smith made the recovery on the fumble by Charlie Garner.
Well, we talked about the Eagles' aggressive run defense. This is aggressive by the Redskins. Look at Boutte, comes right up through the center. He's the guy that forces this fumble. And then Derek Smith is right there in the midst of it to recover it. Now, this has been the Eagles' undoing, if nothing else, has been turnovers. Again, Boutte is the guy that got his hand into the exchange there.
So Charlie Garner could not take care of the football, and the Redskins from the Eagles' 23-yard line. Terry Allen up the middle, down to the 20 before he was stopped by the combination of Michael Zordich and James Willis. So second down upcoming for the Redskins following the short gain by Terry Allen. Three wide receivers. And Perrott with the shovel pass to Larry Bowie, fights off the first tackle. Great second effort, and then he's run down by Ray Farmer.
That's team defense. That's what tells you your defense is running, swarming to the football. Because everybody thinks that Willis, their big hitter, is going to bring down Bowie on this hit. That's what you think. If you're playing frantic team defense, you keep going. See that? Everybody thinks, all right, it's a nobody on the Eagles defense, and that's why they were able to hold this play to 1 yard. Nice relentlessness on the part of Farmer.
Perrott on third down, fires, and it's broken up. Zordich on the coverage. The intended receiver was the tight end, Jamie Escher.
The guy that made that play was Rhett Hall, right up the center. Now this has been the weakness of the Eagles defense, has been their pass rush. Watch Hall right here. He puts a quick move on Joe Patton and comes after that. It's clear sailing to Perrott.
So Scott Blanton out to attempt field goal last week, his first career miss from inside 40. This will be a 37-yard attempt, and it just sneaks through. So the Redskins are on the scoreboard. 37-yard field goal by Blanton. The Eagles' lead is now 14-3.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Mazda. Come see what happens when a car company has more engineers and fewer accountants. Mazda.
Beautiful afternoon in Philadelphia as the Eagles look to get back on the winning track. Coming 1-3, they've lost their last two. Eagles won their only home game over the Green Bay Packers, and they've lost 3 on the road to the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Vikings. To Staley from the 6. Out across the 25-yard line. So the Eagles go back to work. Keith Thibodeau made the stop. A 20-yard return by Staley. Our Aflac trivia question once again. Who holds the Eagles and Redskins single season record for touchdown passes? And Tim, the answer is Sonny Jurgensen with the Eagles 32 back in 1961. And then the Redskins 31 in 1967. Sonny, the color analyst on the Redskins
that's
radio
what
network.
happens when you set records like that. You get one of these soft jobs up here. Now I never set any records, so I don't know what I'm doing here. I know why Sonny's up here.
You told us last week about your touchdown that was called back one time.
That's right.
With the Atlanta Falcons. Ricky Waters to the 30. Jesse Campbell made the stop. And for McDonald's game break, let's return to
7-yard touchdown return, 14-3 Green Bay. Back to Philly, Kenny and Tim.
How about that move?
How about
Talk about Ricky Waters' lead. Dave Wilkins had a lead.
How about that call by Kevin Harlan?
Yeah, that was good.
Reminiscent of Kevin's call of a squirrel, which once ran 50 yards down a football field. Kevin made the highlights around America.
You know what's going on there in Green Bay, and I think the guys on the pregame show sensed it, is that the Packers are becoming indignant. And that's what they needed to do, and I think that's what Philadelphia is playing like right now. Like they're indignant. They're 1-3, and they're playing like, hey, there's no way in the world we should be 1-3.
Third down and 3, and Detmer's pass broken up by Darrell Green. The intended receiver was Michael Timpson, and Green may have jammed a finger.
Yeah, well, there's two things about this play. One, they're throwing right into the teeth of the Redskins defense. And remember, we talked about it. Darrell Green and Chris Dishman are the reason this defense is #1 in the National Football League. They're great with their body position. The second thing is the ball, again, is behind Timpson. So that's the thing that Ty Detmer struggled with. Now, Detmer has been outstanding today. He's 7, I believe he's 7 for 9, or he's 6 for 9. So he's playing very well, but that is his weakness, throwing behind the receiver.
Ryan Mitchell handles the hot punt, stays on his feet across the 30 to the 31-yard line. A flag is thrown. 53-yard punt by Hutton, 17 yards on the return as the officials get together. Gary Lean is our referee, former NFL quarterback.
The Eagles aren't careful, they're going to allow the Redskins to slip back into this game by committing the mistakes that they've committed that got them to 1 and 3, penalties and turnovers.
Illegal use of the hands to the face on the kicking team prior to the kick. 10-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Because Ray Rhodes knows that another thing that's hurt his team has been the opposing team's field position. The Eagles are one of the worst in the league when it comes to giving the other team the ball with a shorter field in which they have to travel to score. Now you just backed up 10 more yards on a punt, and you've got Brian Mitchell back there. Ray Rhodes starts to chew on his gum a little harder.
Yes, special teams have been a problem this season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Here it is right here. I mean, they're worst in the NFL when it comes to the opponent's field position.
Tommy Hutton back inside his 10-yard line. Mitchell returned a Hutton punt for a touchdown here at the Vet 2 years ago. He's returned 6 in his career. Hutton forces Mitchell to the outside, and the Redskins will start in excellent field position on their own 43-yard line. 42-yard punt by Hutton, 8 yards on the return. Tonight it's game 4 of the American League Division Series between the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians. At 7 p.m. join JB and the gang from Lambeau Field as they get you caught up on all the scores and highlights from this afternoon's action. Then Chip Carey and Steve Lyons will be in Hollywood with the latest from the Mariners and the Orioles series, game 4, and a preview of game 4 of the Yankees and the Indians. That's tonight on Fox, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, an action-packed day on Fox.
Yeah.
Football, then baseball tonight.
And that's a big one for the Yankees.
And a big one for the Eagles defensively as they take down Farran.
Yeah, Rhett Hall's the guy that got him. You know, sometimes you talk about playing with indignance, and this Philadelphia defensive line has been criticized. They haven't had a sack so far this season. Now here's Rhett Hall coming right up the center, and he's beaten Joe Patton like he's not there. He's going to get that sack. He's the guy that puts him down.
Only the 5th sack this season by the Eagles in 5 games.
Yeah, the first one by second one by a defensive line.
On 2nd down and 18, Farran intended for Asher, picked off by Zordich. Flag on the play. Zordich cuts to the outside and is finally forced out of bounds. But 3 flags were thrown.
Well, we talked to Michael Zordich yesterday, and I said, Michael, can you still do everything you used to do? Knowing the answer, he said, no, you know, I can't. It's frustrating for me sometimes. But what this guy still can do is study the opponent, know their tendencies, and see a pass pattern develop and know exactly what's going to happen before it happens. He sees it develop because he's watching film. I mean, he goes in on Tuesdays and consults with Emmett Thomas, or Emmett Thomas consults with him. They call him his assistant. All these penalties here, some of them against the Redskins, some against the Eagles, some after the play, after the interception.
Flags everywhere.
Yeah, one was
Holding
before the interception.
On the offense, number 76.
Yep. They'll decline that.
That penalty's declined.
That was Ed Simmons.
Personal foul, low block, number 26.
Yep.
On the return team,
First
that
issue.
penalty's accepted.
For the return
First
team.
down.
Well, there is no 26 on the return team. That was obviously on Chris Dishman of the Redskins, despite Gary Lane's
but the block, maybe it was another something 6. Now here it is, and there's Zordich with the perfect position. The pass is high. It's not a nice pass by Gus Frerotte. But we'll see if we can look at the low block here.
I mean, the only 26 is Dishman, and he was on the sideline. So Gary Lane
there it is right there. So
Gary Lane had the wrong number on that one.
Right. You're right, he was wrong.
But a 37-yard return by Zordich, his 18th career interception. So in any event, it will be Eagles football.
Absolutely, and in any event, it's just, that's heads-up play. That's why they call him the assistant to the assistant. Emmett Thomas is Ray Rhodes' assistant.
And a long-time Redskins
assistant. Yeah. And the penalty was on Brian Dawkins, number 20, not 26.
Right. So each team has turned the ball over once. Eagles from their own 40-yard line. Detmer on the quick slant, and a first down. First catch of the day for Irving Fryer.
And now things are starting to happen for the Eagles because they've done everything they set out to do. Run the ball, throw the short pattern. Now they're going at the strength of the Redskins defense. They told us yesterday, hey, Ray Rhodes said, look at Irving Fryer is going to compete against Dishman, and he will get himself open sometime or another during the day. The question is, can Detmer find him when he does? Detmer did.
Oh, another fumble. Second botched handoff this afternoon by the Eagles, but this time Waters. It was Garner earlier. This time Waters able to recover.
You know, sometimes in football, all you need is a little luck. You just need things to go your way. And we'll look, and you'll see that this thing goes their way because it bounces right back up into Ricky Waters' hands. He doesn't even have to fall on it. He can still keep going and pick up a couple yards on that play.
Third fumble of the day involving Detmer. He bobbled a snap on the opening drive, and now two botched handoffs. Detmer in trouble, hit by Dishman. He got the pass off to Kevin Turner.
Wow, look at that.
Another Eagles first down. What a first half for Turner.
And what a first half for Detmer. This is what makes offensive linemen and defensive linemen and everybody who plays on a team fall in love with a quarterback. Watch Stanley Richard coming, just Dishman comes completely unencumbered, nails Detmer. Detmer gets this ball off somehow, some way. Gets it to Kevin Turner, and Detmer now 8 for 11 and 117 yards with one running touchdown of his own.
Waters, and remember there was speculation earlier in the week about a possible quarterback switch to Rodney Peete. Ray Rhodes told us yesterday, I want to give Ty every opportunity to get this thing going. I don't want Ty to feel like someone is looking over his shoulder.
Well, yeah, they didn't want him to feel that way, but in fact, they were looking over his shoulder, and they gave Rodney Peete twice as many snaps in practice as he normally gets. Usually gets about 15% of the reps. This week he got 30. Don't think Ty Detmer didn't know what was going to happen if he didn't lead the Eagles to a win today.
Second down and 4. Waters. And the Eagles' 1-3 start has drawn a lot of comparisons in the local media to 2 seasons ago. Ray Rhodes' first year, they started 1-3. After that 4th game, Randall Cunningham was benched. Rodney Peete came in, and they won 9 of their last 12.
Well, I think a lot of people wondered after the game in Minnesota. I mean, everybody knew about the Dallas thing. That could have gone either way. I think a lot of people wondered in Minnesota why the Eagles' defense didn't attack the weakness of the Vikings' defense. The Eagles' offense didn't attack the defense weakness of the Vikings by running the ball. That's what they've done today.
They certainly have. Ricky Waters carrying the ball for the 16th time in this first half alone.
I'll tell you, Stanley Richard, he just stoned him. That's having your safeties involved in the run game. I don't know if they're going to pick this first down up or not. But if they don't, it's because this guy right here, Stanley Richard, just hammered Ricky Waters.
Out come the chains.
Yeah. That's not a bad job, you know. I mean, you get a great view of the field. You run out every now and then. You stop them. Stanley Richard did it. Let's listen to Stanley Richard laying the hit on Ricky Waters. Sounds of the game. How about that? You know, I mean, that's bringing it. He's coming from the secondary. That's what Stanley Richard has added to his game this season. A lot of people didn't know exactly what he was. Believe it or not, the cornerbacks, Darrell Green and Chris Dishman, have made Stanley Richard better because they play much better as a unit now. And also because Stanley Richard knows that when it comes to pass coverage, he doesn't have to think as much about helping the cornerbacks. He can focus more on helping stop the run as he did on that play.
Timeout called by the Eagles. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader, starting with America's most watched pregame show. Then catch an NFC Central battle as the Packers take on the Bears, following the Rams and the 49ers, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on Fox. Now, we heard the sounds of the game. You can hear the sounds. You can hear some of the inside stuff, so to speak, on right. NFL Total Access.
That's where you got to go. You want to hear it all. I mean, they mic the players. They do all that stuff. Ron Pitts and I hosting it on Fox Sports Net. Seen in Washington area on Home Team Sports, here in the Philly area on channel Philadelphia at Comcast, the Comcast system.
Do you think that Stanley Richard hit might show up?
Yeah, it might. I'll tell you what will show up is what's going on inside the huddle here as the Eagles go for it on 4th and short. Watch the surge of the line.
And Detmer forced to call another timeout.
No, he's not forced to. They tried to draw him off. When they didn't draw him off, now they may kick the field goal.
Well, Detmer did not call timeout in time. The play clock wound down as they tried to draw the Redskins off sides.
I believe they were going to kick a field goal anyway.
So this will be a 34-yard attempt for Boniol. And it is straight through.
Yeah, and that's the judicious thing to do. Because you've got a 14-3 lead, you want to take that field goal when you can get it.
And Boniol has now hit 49 in a row from 35 yards or less. Well, the Eagles add to their lead. It is now 17-3 Philadelphia, still in the first half, and the 17 points represent the most the Redskins have allowed in a game this season.
Yeah, and we talked about it just before the commercial break there. You want to get that. Even Ricky Waters was the only guy who was really arguing to go for it on 4th down. The problem with going for it on 4th down, if you don't get it, if you come up short, you completely reverse the momentum of the game. Because that's what the game's about. It's about what's going on inside these guys' heads. That's as important as the numbers, as the statistics, as the time on the clock, is what players are feeling inside those helmets. And when you go down and you score and it's 17-3, you're on top of the world. You go down and they stuff you on 4th down, you come away with no points, you're on the bottom of the world.
Ryan Mitchell handles the kickoff from the 13. Across the 30, cuts to the outside. Finally taken down by Charles Emmanuel. 21-yard return by Mitchell. Well, the Eagles leading it by the score of 17-3. And a clarification, Tim. The team cannot call 2 consecutive timeouts, so the Eagles were not charged with that second timeout, but of course were charged, as we take a look at the scoring drive, with that penalty. It pushed them back 5 yards before the field goal attempt by Boniol.
You see 7-play drive, and also when we look at the run-pass ratio, Eagles still running the ball about 2 times to every 1 time they pass it.
Barat out of the shotgun. 3 minutes to go. First half. Brian Mitchell. And he was tackled on the play by William Thomas.
Now here, even in a 2-minute situation, Gus Barat, you see, shortening that pass game down, going to the shorter, more intermediate receivers.
Redskins with 2 timeouts remaining. From the shotgun once again. Complete to the tight end, Jamie Asher, for a first down, forced out of bounds by Ray Farmer.
This is an important 2-minute drive for the Philadelphia Eagles defense and for the whole team. Remember, we talked about it just a moment ago. It's about the mindset. It's about momentum. If Gus Frerotte can use this 2-minute offense, chip down the way, go all the way down the field and score, the Redskins are going to go into their locker room at halftime feeling like things have turned our way. We've got it going. We're going to come out in the second half and win this game.
Frerotte on first down. Couldn't find anyone and then throws it away.
You know, Troy Vincent, Kenny, last week had trouble with his coverage. He got beat for a couple touchdowns. I think a lot of that was because he hurt his shoulder. I think today, if you look at him, he's doing a much better job with his coverage. There he is on Westbrook. Now, he gets a little separation, but he uses his speed. He recovers nicely and forces Gus Frerotte to throw that pass out of bounds. That's man-to-man coverage right there. So Troy Vincent, that's when you're tested. It's you and Westbrook, and you know if you lose, it could be a touchdown. If you win, it's a ball out of bounds next play.
Flags thrown on 2nd and 10. Movement on the line.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Trey Johnson, who played his collegiate ball locally at Temple University.
Just a bit of a flinch, but the thing is, I mean, when you're this big, if you move an eyelash, people can see it from the upper deck. You know what I'm saying? Because you flick, the eyelash flicks and it sets off a chain reaction. But all that stuff just starts going and moving, and you're always going to get the offsides penalty.
Eyelashes moved this time, although maybe one did.
I think they did.
Another flag is thrown.
Yeah, I think Ashmore this time jumped. Trey Johnson has so much stuff.
Snap, false start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
It's Darrell Ashmore. Now he's in for Ed Simmons, who's the normal starting right tackle for the Redskins, who's out with a bad knee. It's just an old knee. That's all he is. It's not a specific injury. There he is right there.
Ashmore, the former Ram, 3rd Redskins penalty. They came in, as we mentioned earlier, as the least penalized team in the NFL, with just over 4 penalties committed per game. On 2nd and 20, Frerotte steps up, throws, and finds a receiver, Henry Ellard.
Another first down.
Gain of 20 from Frerotte to Ellard as we hit the 2-minute warning in Philadelphia. Just under 2 minutes remaining first half. Redskins on the move. They trail the Eagles 17-3. Washington 1st and 10 upcoming on the Philadelphia 39. Coming up on the Doctors Khakis halftime report, Kevin Harlan and Bill Moss will have scores and highlights from around the National Football League, and our Fox Sports ticker will bring you up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Doctors Khakis halftime report, and I can assure you Kevin Harlan will not look like that.
No, that takes some guts to come into Veterans Stadium dressed like a Redskins fan.
Here's Frerotte on first down, and the tight end Jamie Asher, usually short-handed, could not hold on.
You know, Kenny, a lot of people have wondered why Mike Mamula doesn't have any sacks. What's going on with him? I'll tell you what's going on with him today. That's just pass rush. He's working his tail off, but they get 2 guys on him. Right there, there's Shard Pordonis, and there's Mitchell waiting for him. He busts through 2 guys, and then they knock him down backwards. This guy is really working hard. The problem, I think, that he has more than anything is the absence of William Fuller, the absence of another defensive lineman who gets a consistent pass rush, not allowing teams to focus 2 guys on him.
On second down, Frerotte out of the shotgun, hands it off to Brian Mitchell, who gains 4 yards, but a flag on the play. Clock stops with 1:49 remaining, and again, it is on the Redskins. So they have matched their season average in the first half alone, their 4th penalty today.
A lot of things for Norv Turner are going the opposite of what they normally do. I mean, the pass defense has already allowed about the same amount of yards they allowed during an entire game.
Holding
in just the first half.
Number 84, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Jamie Asher, the guilty party.
Yeah, look at this here. I mean, Philadelphia's already got 115 yards passing. Now with this, you would expect. I mean, the Redskins' defensive MO has been that they've given up about 140 yards a game on the ground. Again, number 29. But you would not expect them to have 115 in the air in just the first half alone.
Above the Redskins' season average of 106 per game. There's Farrat on 2nd and 20, dumps it off to Mitchell. Not much running room. Back in Philadelphia territory. The short gain, 3rd catch of the afternoon for Mitchell.
I'll tell you, Rhett Hall's playing a good game defensively for the Eagles. He made that tackle on that play. We saw him sack Farrat. We saw him put pressure on Farrat. And that's what it's about. We talked about a team playing with it, becoming indignant. The Packers are indignant up in Green Bay. That's why they're winning that game against Tampa Bay. And the Eagles are indignant here, and that's why they're winning the game today. They said enough is enough. We got to get back to what we do best.
3rd down and 17. Farrat's pass deflected. Deflected by William Thomas, who breaks up the 3rd and 17 pass play, and the Redskins will punt.
Well, this is William Thomas's strength. Here he is, and you think, well, he's a 50 number, he's a linebacker, he's going to play like a linebacker, I can throw right past him. The difference is William Thomas has the speed and the acceleration of a defensive back. That's his strength out there on the field. We talked about Willis being the strong, tough run stopper. William Thomas is excellent coverage.
Troy Vincent back deep. And Turk's punt bounces out of bounds. So the Eagles with 55 seconds remaining in this first half. Only 20 yards on the punt by Turk.
Turk really hasn't done anybody any favors except this woman right here who got the ball, but he hasn't done anybody else any favors with the way he's been kicking, because what field position the Redskins have had has gone for naught, because he's not pinning the Eagles offense back down in their own territory.
And a reminder, coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime, Kevin Harlan and Bill Moss from the Fox Television Center in Hollywood. Eagles with 1 timeout remaining on their own 27-yard line. Detmer in trouble, escapes Ken Harvey, and the pass complete. Chris T. Jones, who missed the first 4 games with a knee injury, comes up with his first reception of the season.
Boy, he earned every bit of that catch. You see the shot he took from Stanley Richard?
Detmer to the outside, Kevin Turner. And the clock stops with 31 seconds to go in this first half. Eagles leading 17-3. Detmer with a 3-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. Waters propelled himself into the end zone early second quarter, and then a 37-yard field goal by Chris Boliol. 17-3 Philadelphia. 2nd down and 8. And the pass is caught for another first down. Freddie Solomon. And Detmer signals timeout, a 13-yard gain. Eagles first down in Redskins territory on the Washington 48 with 21 seconds left and no timeouts.
2 things have really jumped out at me this first half when it comes to the Eagles. One is Ty Detmer. The way he's playing tough, hanging in against the pressure, delivering the ball, sticking to what he does best. Throwing the ball, those shorter intermediate routes with great accuracy. You've seen when he's tried to go further afield, he's thrown the ball behind his receivers just a little bit, but in close, he's been outstanding. He's 11 of 14, 141 yards. Again, his toughness came through when he scrambled in the red zone and ran one in for a touchdown when all his receivers are covered. The second thing the Eagles have done is they've really won that battle up front. Their offensive line has done an outstanding job opening holes for Charlie Garner and Ricky Waters in the run game.
And Detmer has completed 5 consecutive pass attempts. 21 seconds to go, first half. Detmer steps up, throws. Did Timpson hang on? No. Incomplete. Now 15 seconds remaining.
Well, that's too bad for Ty, because that was a nice, you know, we talked about, well, he's strong in the middle of the field and the shorter stuff, but he's a competitor. I mean, he wants to throw those deep out cuts. He wants to throw the 9, you know, the goes where the receivers race up the sideline, and then he throws a nice one, and then Timpson doesn't bring it down.
4 wide receivers. Second down. Detmer looking for the deep ball. Christy Jones came together with Darrell Green.
Boy, Darrell Green used all his experience to break that one up, because he did break it up, but there's no interference because it looks incidental. What Darrell Green does is he turns and he slows up just enough to keep Christy Jones from reaching this ball. That's not a bad throw ball. Look at that right there. You see Darrell Green? I mean, he just slows up just a little bit. It's like drawing a foul in basketball. He made it look like Christy Jones ran into him, but don't you believe it for a second, Darrell Green broke up that play.
Detmer on third down. And the Eagles will have one more shot. 3 seconds remaining in this first half.
You know, we talked about Ty Detmer's deep ball. I mean, that was a nice deep ball that he threw to Christy Jones. It really was. But for Darrell Green's hindering Christy Jones, I think the ball would have been right on the mark. He could have run right underneath that thing for a touchdown.
So this will be the final play of the first half, with the Eagles leading the Redskins 17-3. Washington 3-1. Philadelphia 1-3. Detmer shows what he's got. Into the end zone, incomplete. A jump ball, and that will do it for this first half. Good half for Ty Detmer and his Eagles. They lead the Redskins 17-3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Dockers Package halftime after these messages. Back in Philadelphia as the Eagles leave their locker room as we get set for half number 2. Philadelphia leading Washington by the score of 17-3. Kenny Albert, Tim Green back with you from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia on Fox NFL Sunday. And the Redskins came in with 2 starting defensive linemen out, and the Eagles wanted to run the football, and that is exactly what they have accomplished.
Yeah, they have. And the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line has done a great job of getting push in the short yardage situations, opening up holes in other situations. And also, I think the game plan has really been outstanding. Not only to run the football, but to get the ball in the hands of Kevin Turner, Ricky Waters, and Charlie Garner on the passing plays. Ty Detmer has been really exact on those shorter intermediate passes. He's done a great job, and I expect more of the same for the Eagles. Don't forget, this is a critical game for this team that's 1-3 right now.
And for the Eagles, 2 long drives in the first half, both culminating in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, as we take a look at our first half highlights.
Well, this just shows how Ty Detmer has really taken control of this offense. No one open in the end zone. He runs it in himself, and this shows the great surge on the part of the Eagles offensive line. They've been dominating that line of scrimmage against the Washington Redskins, and you can see it right here. I mean, they've got 104 yards rushing already. They've got 140 yards in the air. That's more than the Redskins normally give up in an entire game. Then for the Eagles defense, they've done a great job, not just of limiting the Redskins in the run and passing yards, but right here, they've limited them to in the first down category, and that means they've been outstanding defensively against an offense, the Redskins offense, that coming into this game was the #1 third down offense in the National Football League.
And a good first half for Ty Detmer. 11 of 18, 141 yards. Gus Ferrant, 7 of 17.
Yeah, and you know, 4 of those passes were incomplete at the end. He was sitting there going into halftime at 11 of 14. And then he had the 4 deep passes, none of which hit.
Redskins will receive the opening kickoff in the second half. Chris Boniol will handle the kicking chores for the Eagles, who lead the Redskins 17-3. And the second half is underway from the vet. Brian Mitchell from the 5. Across the 20, across the 30. Mitchell still on his feet, finally taken down at midfield by Brian Dawkins after a gain of 48 yards.
Last thing you want to do, even though you've got the lead, is to come out complacent in the second half. This is where the Eagles have really struggled this season on their kickoff and punt coverage. And you see here, there's everybody's blocked, nice holes. Mitchell uses his speed. Brian Dawkins is the guy who brings him down. In answer to their problem, the Eagles on their special teams have put Brian Dawkins and Michael Zordich, 2 starters, on their kickoff coverage team.
Redskins start in Philadelphia territory as Terry Allen gains 5 on first down. John Harris made the stop. Redskins' first half possessions not very good.
Well, you can see they really struggled, and this one field goal that they did get came off of a Philadelphia fumble. So that's the only time they scored punt. I like what I saw in the first play, though, because we saw Terry Allen. The Redskins, to get back in this game and win, have to go back to what they do best, running that ball.
Allen once again, the Redskins' longest drive in the first half, covered only 25 yards.
Right, now they have to get it into Allen's hands. They have to be patient. He hit so hard on that play, he knocked his breathe right off. Look at that. I've never seen anybody hit himself so hard that they knocked the breathe right off. I heard the crack. But that's what they got to do. I mean, so far, he's only had 3 yards to carry. But the problem is he's only had the ball in his hands 8 times. Terry Allen's a guy who can carry it 30 times and pound it out on a defense.
3rd down and 1. Allen up the middle. This will be close. John Harris once again made the stop.
Yeah, I think he got it, and that's what Terry Allen does best. John Harris, the rookie first-round draft choice, had him in the backfield and had a hold of him. I think Terry Allen had just too much strength, too much surge to be denied that first down.
Remember, Allen was stopped earlier on a 3rd and 1 situation, but this time does pick up the first down.
That's what you want to do. You dance with the girl that brought you. I mean, the girl that brought you to the dance, the girl that got the Redskins to 3 and 1, was running that ball with Terry Allen and using the precise shorter passing game.
Play fake, and Farrat's pass is short, intended for the tight end, Jamie Asher.
I think Gus Farrat has been off because he's surprised at the pass rush that the Eagles defense has put on him today. Really, coming into this game, they expected to just give Gus Farrat a nice pocket, nice protection against a front 4 that really hasn't gotten a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. I think Gus Farrat's timing is off, and it is off because of the pressure being exerted by the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line.
Farrat on 2nd down, hands it off. Terry Allen inside the 35. Hollis Thomas made the tackle. Hollis Thomas, who impressed the Eagles management crew with a videotape. He was a free agent out of Northern Illinois just over a year ago and sent his own personal highlight reel set to rap music. And the song was called I'm No Joke.
I'm No Joke. It was like the rap music on the pregame piece that Howie Long did with the Tampa Bay defense. I mean, that was great. You know, it's got that funky low beat and the powerful thing. And it impressed Ray Rhodes so much, he said, I got to bring this guy in here.
And the first time Hollis Thomas walked into Eagles camp, Ray Rhodes said, you're going to make this team. Off the helmet. It bounced off the helmet of Brian Mitchell. Eagles thought the ball was loose, but it is an incomplete pass.
Well, Kenny, it's the same story. Gus Farrat throws it sooner than he wants to because those guys are getting pressure right up in his face. Now, it's just a short 3-step drop.
Richard Dent.
Yeah, Richard Dent, Mitchell going at it.
Dent, the 15-year veteran, MVP of Super Bowl 20.
That's a test of wills right there. They're face-to-face, and each guy's waiting for the other guy to take a swing and draw the 15-yard penalty. They both maintain their composure. Now look at the pocket here. Here it is, but here is Jimmy Jones coming in here, and here's Hollis Thomas. And there's the pressure. And that's what's going on with Gus Frerotte. You say, why isn't he sharp? What's going on with him today? He's getting pressure from a place he's not expecting it.
Redskins will go for it on 4th down and 7. But first, the Eagles call timeout.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By Texaco, a world of energy. By Kinko, the new way to office. And by Energizer. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and going.
Back in Philadelphia, Eagles forced to call timeout. They only had 10 men on the field. Redskins facing 4th down and 7.
Now, part of the problem they may be having protecting Frerotte is right here. They don't have their normal right side of their offensive line. And Trey Johnson's out with a shoulder, and Ed Simmons is out with a knee. They've been replaced by a rookie in Badger, and then Darrell Ashmore.
And the play is blown dead. Flags thrown. Yes, the Redskins with a makeshift right side of their offensive line.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 67, 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
And that was Sharp Pordanish on the left side. So now the Redskins will be forced to punt. It moves them back 5 yards. It's 4th and 12. 5th penalty of the game committed by the Redskins, which eclipses their season average. Troy Vincent is the deep man. And Turk's punt bounces in the end zone. 40 yards on the punt by Turk.
He did it again, Kenny.
Yes, not happy, not very happy with himself.
Neither are the Redskins.
To help prove the new Advanced Energizer really does last over 30% longer than Duracell in
17-3 lead for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they have gotten the job done on the ground. 104 yards rushing, 245 total yards in the first half. Their first possession of the second half from their own 20-yard line. As Detmer hits the fullback, Kevin Turner, his 4th reception of the afternoon.
Well, that's just more of the same. That's what they want to do. They're up on this game by 14 points because they've thrown these shorter passes, and it's worked. Part of the reason it works is the blitz pickup. Look at that right there. Ricky Waters blocking Marcus Patton, the blitzer, enabling Ty Detmer to get that ball off. When you've got your running back throwing great blocks on blitz pickup, everything is working for you.
Waters spins to the 34-yard line. Marcus Patton made the tackle.
Well, Kenny, if you look at it, you can see it right here in the numbers. Now, you have to remember, 4 of these right here are from those desperation passes at the end of the half. So this really could be more like 7. And you see that the distribution to the wide receivers and the running backs and the tight ends is just about equal. It's where they've had a lot of their success, in that shorter passing game. That's why they've got this lead. There's John Gruden, Emmett Thomas here, John Gruden, the offensive coordinator here. Now, it works against his grain, and the West Coast offense is predicated on the pass. They want to throw. It's what they did in San Francisco. It's what Mike Holmgren implemented up in Green Bay, and it's based on throwing the ball, short, fast, efficient passing game. Today, they really went to that run game to make the West Coast work. Part of the reason the run game has worked has been this guy, Steve Everett.
But he is heading to the sideline, shaken up. Now, he had suffered a pulled hamstring during the week.
You think he's working hard? I mean, did you see the sweat going there? You could see right through his shirt.
Usually doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah, I know, well, off the field, but you got the new uniform rules. I mean, look at that.
Ray Rhodes told us During training camp, he would see Steve Everett without a shirt, without shoes.
Yeah.
Called him a caveman.
He did. A caveman who goes to art museums in his spare time. That's a paradox.
Second down and 8. And the pass was behind Irving Fryer. Bubba Miller has replaced Steve Everett. Miller, the second-year man out of Tennessee. So both teams suffering injury problems on their offensive line.
We talked about at the very beginning of this game a lack of continuity for the Eagles offensive line. Not one of the guys as starters is in the position that they were in last season to start. It's a whole new line.
4 wide receivers on 3rd down and 8. Detmer's pass is caught shy of a first down as Freddie Solomon was hit immediately by the rookie out of Northwest Louisiana State, Keith Thibodeau. A gain of 7, but still a yard shy of the first down. So Tom Hutton comes out to punt.
So when you look at this game and you look at the situation, you sit back and say, all right, the Redskins are down 14 points. There's still plenty of time, but they've got to get back to what they do best. Hammering the ball with Terry Allen, and Gus Frerott's efficiency needs to improve.
Well, what Brian Mitchell does best is return punts as he extends across the 30-yard line. 43-yard punt by Hutton. 14 on the return. Welcome back to the Vet in Philadelphia. Another beautiful aerial shot provided to us by the Fujifilm blimp, which, Tim, we are told has a gas bag so large, over 750,000 regulation NFL footballs could fit inside.
Yeah, I wonder how many regulation Trey Johnsons could fit in there.
Probably not as many.
No.
Here's Frerotte on first down, and the pass was short. Frerotte and the tight end Asher have had their problems connecting today.
And there you see Frerotte getting up off this turf. Watch Rhett Hall again. I mean, he's got the number right here. Look at that. It's a swim move. They've given Patton help with Jeff Ulenig. Even with 2 guys on Rhett Hall, he's getting to the quarterback. Why are Ferrotte's numbers poor? Look at right here. 1 sack, but 10 hurries, 4 knockdowns. Gus Frerotte has been under pressure all day, and it's ruined his timing.
Shepard in motion on 2nd and 10. Frerotte to the fullback, Larry Bowie. Hit out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Troy Vincent, a gain of 5, so it will be 3rd and 5 for the Redskins.
I think the Redskins offensive line has to be more surprised than anyone at what's happened to them today, at how much pressure the Eagles defensive line has put on them. Because what happens is you're an offensive lineman, you're watching film all week, all the previous games, you're watching the pass plays, you're assessing what can these guys do against us, what can't they do against us. What the Redskins offensive line thought they couldn't do, the Eagles defensive line is doing. They're beating them up front.
Frerotte on 3rd down, and he has the first down. This time he clicks with Asher. Asher's 2nd catch today and 18th of the season. And perhaps Norv Turner has found his Jay Novacek. Of course, Norv, the offensive coordinator in Dallas.
Yeah, but not quite. I mean, Jay Novacek was the tight end he liked to go to, but Jamie Asher doesn't have Jay Novacek's speed. That's the thing that Novacek had that made him extra special. What Asher does have, though, is a great feel for the game. He knows how to get into the soft spot of his zone and catch the football.
Play action on first down as Frerotte hits Bowie, a flag thrown in the defensive secondary.
I think it may be on Farmer, who was working on Jamie Asher in the middle of the field. One thing the Eagles wanted to do today was bracket Jamie Asher as much as they could. Get a guy on either side.
And it is against Philadelphia.
defense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Farmer's going to argue about it, but it's not going to do any good.
Farmer starting today in the absence of Darren Smith, the former Cowboy.
Yeah, here's Asher right here. And here he comes, and there's Farmer on him. See, now remember how I said he was going to be bracketed? Well, there's no bracket there. It's just Farmer one-on-one with Jamie Asher, and that's why he holds him, because he knows he's got him alone, and he knows he's Gus Frerott's favorite target.
So a first down at midfield. Again, the Redskins look to throw on first down, and Terry Allen makes the catch for a gain of 7.
And this shorter passing game, Kenny, is in deference to the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. Because they're putting pressure on Gus Frerotte, what Norv Turner has done is he said, all right, let's just go to that little 3-step stuff. Let's just start using that short passing game. If our wide receivers aren't going to win and get open immediately against the defensive backs, if our offensive line isn't going to hold out the defensive linemen, we've got more tricks up our sleeve than a magician. We'll let Gus Frerotte throw the short game.
Second down and 3. Frerotte pump fakes, airs it out, and let's see, the catch is made. A flag is thrown. A flag on the play as Michael Westbrook made the acrobatic catch inside the 10, a gain of 37 yards.
That was a spectacular effort on Michael Westbrook's part. Reminded me of the catch that he made in the end zone to win the Arizona Cardinals game.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. Penalties declined, the catch, first down.
Here's Westbrook again. I mean, it's just a simple go route. He comes inside Bobby Taylor. Taylor grabs him. Watch this laying out. That's nice. And don't think he didn't see Brian Dawkins coming at him out of the corner of his eye. That's toughness. So now with the short pass game pulling the safeties away, that enables Gus Frerotte to go deep. And there's Dawkins coming into the picture just a little too late.
First and goal from the 5. Frerotte with time, fires, touchdown, Terry Allen.
Nice composure on the part of the Washington Redskins. Things weren't working right. Norv Turner changed gears, got the short passing game working, drew the safeties in, went to the long game, got them into the red zone, went right back to the short passing game. There it is, simple crossing route to Terry Allen.
A 6-play drive, 6 passes, no runs. They threw on first down. Key play, 37 yards to Michael Westbrook. And a 5-yard touchdown pass from Gus Frerotte to Terry Allen. Redskins within 7. Premiere of Five I Love, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Well, we mentioned earlier, the last 11 times the Redskins and Eagles have gotten together, the game has been decided by 7 points or less. And the Redskins have pulled within 7. Deuce Staley back to receive the Scott Blanton kickoff. In fact, the Eagles have won 8 of the last 9. 5 of those 8 wins coming in the final minute. Here's Staley across the 20 to the 25-yard line. And right now for a McDonald's game break, let's head to James Brown in the or Kevin Harlan, that is. Not James Brown, of course, in the Fox Television Center.
Come on, Kenny in Green Bay. Fullback Mike Allstott powering in from a yard. 2 turnovers by the Buccaneers, yet they trail 21-10 back to Philadelphia. Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. The
number
flag
57.
threw us off.
10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you saw the flag out of the corner of our eye, and
there's flags, there's game breaks, there's things flying everywhere.
James Brown, of course, in Green Bay.
Sure. I mean, when you need him, he's right there in Green Bay, right in the midst of the action.
So our apologies to Kevin Harlan. James Darling was the Eagle who was flagged. Detmer and the Eagles first down from the 17-yard line. Rookie Waters.
Well, we talked about the offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles blocking and the nice job they've done. Watch Panos. Look at Steve Panos. Look at the block he puts on the linebacker there, Ken Harvey, to open up that lane for Ricky Water. That's the kind of stuff that has made the running game work for the Eagles today.
Gain of 6 on first down, second down, and 4. And Detmer's pass intended for Tim. Coverage on the play, provided by the left quarterback, Chris Dishman.
See, I think that's a mistake, okay? Because how did the Eagles get the lead that they have? They got the lead that they have because they came into this game, they said, we're going to run the ball, and our passing game, we're going to keep it simpler. We're not going to throw out to the wide receivers. We're going to throw to our running backs right up the center. We're going to get the ball into Ricky's hands, into Charlie Garner's, Kevin Turner's hands. That's how they got the lead. Now they don't want to let it slip away by, again, going back into the teeth of the Redskins defense, their 2 cornerbacks.
Jones in motion, third down, and 4. Detmer with time, looking downfield, and the catch is made by Kevin Turner. Flag thrown. Flag back around the line of scrimmage.
It's a holding against the Eagles.
And that wipes out a 28-yard pass play.
Brutal. What a nice ball by Ty Detmer, too.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Number 72 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Still third down.
That's Joe Panos.
Yeah, now this stuff happens just about every play there is. Here's Panos. It's just a matter of, are they going to see it, call it? He's working against Rich Owens, and he comes back to get Ken Harvey, and there it is. Well, I got to tell you, you are allowed to put your hand on that guy's face as long as you remove it immediately. That's what Joe Panos did. I'm surprised that they called it. You can use that hand as long as you remove it right away. It should not be a penalty.
Third down and 14. That was pass complete, but Jesse Campbell was right there. So the Eagles stopped short of the first down marker. 12-yard pickup. But Jesse Campbell, who was drafted by the Eagles back in 1991, spent 5 years with the Giants, made the stop. Brian Mitchell back deep. So the Redskins working their way back into this football game, as their defense has stopped the Eagles twice here in the second half.
They are back into it.
They trail by 7. Punt. Forces Mitchell back. Pedaling to the 20. Flag is thrown. And a short gain. Darian Connor down to make the stop. A 55-yard punt, only 3 yards on the return by Mitchell, but a flag was thrown.
Well, Jamel Williams blocked someone right in the back, right in the center of the field, and there's no way that the officials were going to miss that call.
Busy afternoon for Gary Lean and crew.
Illegal block in the back on the return team, number 22. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So the Redskins back to work when we return to Philadelphia.
Reaching your financial goal.
Sunday, October 19th.
Welcome back. 7-point lead for the Eagles. Redskins went 70 yards on their last drive. 6 plays, all pass plays.
Yeah, all pass plays. But besides the one big one to Michael Westbrook, most of those pass plays were the shorter plays where Gus Frerotte could get rid of the ball quickly. Of Frerott's 12 completions, only 2 have been to wide receivers. Make it 3.
Yes, close to a first down. Michael Westbrook, his second catch today. Bobby Taylor made the stop.
But again, the key is getting rid of that ball quickly. That's how you diffuse a pass rush. The Eagles have put a pass rush on the Redskins today. The way that you diffuse it is that 3-step drop and throw the football, like on that last play, is incredibly frustrating as a defensive lineman.
Frerotte has completed 6 in a row. And their first run play of the second half is Terry Allen. James Willis made the stop.
Well, whenever you stop Terry Allen, even for a couple yards in the center of that field, you know that your nose tackle is working overtime, because Trey Johnson, Jeff Uhlenegg, and Joe Patton explode off the football. And when Trey Johnson, look at the size of him, when he explodes, that's what makes him special. He's so big, but he can still explode. Usually things move.
Second down and 6. Farrant in trouble, taken down. Hollis Thomas, he can add that to his highlight video.
I'm no joke. Right up the middle of the offense. Here he is, right past Uhlenegg. Now that's a mismatch. Hollis Thomas, again, 6 foot, about 310. Uhlenegg, not that big. Thomas is a guy they want to assign to Trey Johnson. You want to put bulk on bulk. And when you don't, you get the guy with the theme song of I'm no joke.
Second sack of the day by the Eagles, and Farrant calls timeout.
The other thing that sack did is it just brought the Philadelphia crowd back into this football game.
Eagles 17, Redskins 10, with just over 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Kenny Albert with Tim Green. Third down and 16 following the sack. Eagles fans on their feet. And we have movement on both sides. On the right side of the offensive line.
It's another one against Ashmore. That's his second.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Ashmore in for the injured Ed Simmons.
This is crowd noise. That's what it will do to you. Did you see Gus Farrant? He gave the hard count, and the crowd noise is a distraction to the offensive lineman. I told you the crowd was back in it after Hollis Thomas' sack. Here it comes again.
Third down and 21. Farrant pump fakes, fires, and it's broken up by Brian Dawkins. Pass intended for Leslie Shepard, who does not have a reception today, and Dawkins batted it down.
What a beautiful athletic play by Brian Dawkins, a second-year player, a safety, learning under the tutelage of Zordich. Nice pressure, forcing Farrant to run, but he puts the ball where it has to be. Look at that. I mean, he goes up in the air and spins his body around. Watch him right here. Look at that. First touches Leslie Shepard. You know how hard that is to do? That's like one of those high dive moves you see, and you look and you say, there's no way I could ever do that in the world.
And then you watch it on tape and can't believe you did it. Cook from the end zone. But the play clock ran down.
That's a big 5 yards, too, because now Turk is going to be
delayed offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
The line of scrimmage was the 10. It is now the 5.
And that's the crowd. That's the crowd noise affecting the game again. The crowd drew Daryl Ashmore off sides, and now it caused a delay of game for the Redskins, because when you're on the punt team, you have to talk amongst each other to pick up your assignments.
There you see Turk in the back of the end zone. Turk struggled earlier, but a terrific kick this time, and Vincent could not handle it. Troy Vincent taken down inside the 25-yard line by James Jenkins. 62-yard punt. And you talked earlier, you mentioned the rotating punt returners. Patrice Alexander is the injured Redskin. Mark Say was the punt returner last week. He struggled. And today they've gone with Freddie Solomon. They've used Troy Vincent. We've seen Deuce Staley on the kick returns. So Turk out of the doghouse.
Yeah, that was a beautiful kick. I mean, if a kick can be beautiful, that one was.
And that was Turk's season-long 62-yard punt.
I'll bet you it was his season high, too, because from here I was looking up, and that thing just about touched blue sky.
Pointing up towards that blue sky.
It was his. I know they don't measure height, but that had to be his highest kick as well as his longest.
Turk, the youngest of 6 children. The 5th of 6 is brother Dan, the longtime Raider, who's the deep snapper replacing Fox's Trevor Maddich.
So you know he was good because Maddich made a living on that thing.
And Trevor Maddich now doing color commentary. He was in the studio last week.
And he was outstanding. Yeah, last week in the studio show, he showed just how you snap that thing back there on a punt.
And there's Dan Turk. Eagles back to work from the 25-yard line. Ricky Waters wrapped up by Marcus Patton.
Well, Kenny, we said that the Eagles, to be in this game, to win this game, needed to put the ball in Ricky Waters' hands. They have. 68 yards on the ground, 36 receiving, total of 104 yards. I think they need to continue to do that to hang on to this lead.
He led the NFL last year in all-purpose yards. Second down and 7. 3 wide receivers. Irvin Fryer in motion. Detmer over the top, has a receiver, first down and more. Fryer in Redskins territory to the 45. A gain of 26 yards, and Irving celebrates.
This is smart offensive coordination by John Gruden. Instead of letting Irvin Fryer stand there on the line of scrimmage and try to get off against Dishman or Darrell Green, they send him in motion. Once they send him in motion, they knock off the usual coverage. That allows Fryer to run free across the center into the zone. That allows Ty Detmer to throw it where he throws it best, very accurately in the center of the field.
The inside handoff to Kevin Turner. Hurdles across the 40. Steve Everett has returned, the center. Suffered that leg cramp earlier. Everett back in.
But Kevin Turner's had a nice day today, running the ball and as a receiver. When you play an aggressive defense and you start shooting these gaps like this, you've got to make the play in the backfield. If you fail to make it back here, you see Derek Smith making the move upfield. Once you miss upfield, you open everything up behind you. So if you're going to play aggressively, you got to make sure you hit your mark.
Second down and 2. And Waters is stopped short. So it will be third down. Ken Harvey, along with Jesse Campbell, made the stop. Kevin Turner on the previous play. Terrific all-around day for Turner. 38 yards on the ground, and he has also caught 4. We saw Waters' numbers. Charlie Garner had 1 big run in the first half, then fumbled.
The thing about Kevin Turner is, too, he also blocks. As well as he catches, as well as he runs, he also blocks incredibly well.
Third down and 1. And Waters has the first down across the Redskins 35.
Well, Turner just led that last play for the first down. Here's his rushing and his receptions. He's got almost as many total yards as Ricky Waters. So when you see your 2 runners have got those kind of numbers, you know that the plan was very, very effective. Coming into this game to run and to get the ball in the hands of Turner and Waters.
But the Eagles lead by only 7. Waters gains perhaps 1 yard, a flag thrown. A late flag came down with 21 seconds remaining in quarter number 3.
There's no foul on the play. The runner was down before the hold.
So there was a hold, but Waters was down.
Yeah, after the ball carrier's down, you can grab hold of the guy and put your arm around his waist, and dance. You can do a sachet, and a dance. You can do anything you want.
Clock winding down in this third quarter. The only scoring here in the third, the 5-yard touchdown pass from Gus Frerotte to Terry Allen. Eagles led 17-3 at halftime. After 3, It is now Philadelphia 17, Washington 10. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after this.
November's biggest event.
Back in Philadelphia as we get set for the fourth quarter with the Eagles leading the Redskins 17-10. Kenny Albert with Tim Green. And Tim, we instructed the viewers not to change the dial. The last 11 times these teams have met, 7 points or less.
Yeah, and what's happened is both offenses have found the formula for success. For the Eagles, they found it early on, running the ball, using the short passing game. Now the Redskins have also found their formula for success, shortening up the passing game a little bit, giving Gus Frerotte time to throw.
Detmer on 2nd and 9, going for the deep ball. The catch is made. What a catch by Irving Fryer.
This is exactly why you pay big money to come and see an NFL football game on a Sunday afternoon. Two of the best in the game, Darrell Green, Irving Fryer, man on man, Green with the coverage, but Fryer with the catch. I mean, this is what it's about. Two great players, a quarterback who places that ball perfectly, and then you see who wins. Fryer won.
33-yard gain. Here's Waters, and he is stopped on 1st and goal. Ray Rhodes called Irving Fryer yesterday Mr. Dependable.
Well, it just shows great confidence in Irving Fryer as a player, just to put that ball up there the way Ty Detmer put it up there against Darrell Green. Darrell Green with his great speed, with his ability to close, to change direction. It's always dangerous when you put the ball in the air, but boy, Ty Detmer did a nice job.
And once again, Patrice Alexander is shaken up.
Yeah, that's the second time he's been down on the field.
So it will be 2nd down and 1.
He's got a brace on his left knee. You can see the hardware underneath his sock there. You see that bulge there? Nice play by Jesse Campbell, not only to make the tackle in the backfield, but he goes for the strip. You see his hand right there on the ball, trying to pull that thing free. That could turn a game around.
2nd and goal. Waters met by Patton. Did he cross the plane? No. So Waters stopped twice. It will be 3rd and goal as Waters gives Marcus Patton a tap on the helmet. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the battle between Fryer and Green. I mean, these guys love to be out there, and I mean, Sunday's what it's all about. You get a good guy against a good guy. You see the red zone today. The Eagles have been outstanding.
And here's defensive coordinator Mike Nolan coming in. The Redskins had allowed only 2 red zone touchdowns over the first 4 games. Waters, this time is in. Touchdown, Eagles.
That's a nice play call.
Well, they weren't hugging last week.
No, but that was nothing. It really was. Detmer was the guy who got out of control on that one last week. Now they're both under control. I like the play call. There's Turner with a block, because you hammer the middle, they stop you, everybody's thinking middle, now you hit the outside.
Boniol for the point after. And the Eagles' lead is 2 touchdowns. Philadelphia 24, Washington 10.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Lexus and the new LS400. When was the last time you felt so connected to a car? By Old Milwaukee. Try Old Milwaukee and judge for yourself why it's America's best tasting beer. By Shell, moving at the speed of light. And by Craftsman 2200 hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever.
Back in Philadelphia, the Eagles have extended their lead to a pair of touchdowns. 24-10, Ricky Waters with 2 touchdowns this afternoon. As Bonio kicks it off. Brian Mitchell from the 8. Mitchell tripped up as he crossed the 25-yard line. Deuce Staley celebrates 18-yard return by Mitchell.
Yeah, they're not booing him. They're saying deuce.
Deuce.
Yeah, like they say moose with Dallas. Here's a look at the scoring drive.
You know, in case you were wondering the origin of Deuce Staley's first name, he said he was the second born, and he guesses his mom ran out of names. Second born, she named him Deuce. You know, they used to yell moose here in Philadelphia for Moose DuPont of the Flyers across the street. At the Spectrum.
We got our own Deuce back in Hollywood.
And Farrat is nearly picked off by Troy Vincent. And right now, for this McDonald's game break, let's head to Kevin Harlan in the Fox Television Center.
All right, Kenny, in the Meadowlands, the New York Giants take the lead over the Dallas Cowboys. A 61-yard interception by Tito Wooten. Recall last year, the Giants beat Dallas on 5 Cowboy turnovers. In the 4th, 9 minutes to play. Giants 13, Cowboys 9. Here's a great deuce. Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And it will be the Redskins and the Cowboys next Monday night.
Yeah. I mean, how about this division?
Farrat for the first down. Jamie Asher across the 40 to the 41.
Look at Farrat. They hammered him with a blitz. Nice job hanging in there and delivering the ball to Asher, but look at the blitz coming. Watch it here. Here they come. And there's Rhett Hall. Nails Farrat again. And then watch this catch. Nice catch. Nicely thrown ball, but Farrat pays the price.
And the result is a first down.
Yeah, Rhett Hall has left an imprint on Farrat's shoulder pads.
Play action on first down. Again intended for Asher. Brian Dawkins had the coverage. You know, you talk about this division. Washington 3-1, Dallas 3-1. The Eagles looking to make it 2-3 on the season. The Giants just moments away from beating Dallas. And the Arizona Cardinals 1-3, but all 3 of their losses have come in the closing moments.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are the best 1-3 team in football because they've got such a strong defense. And if you look at any one of these teams, you see strengths. I mean, you see the Redskins, they've got normally a balanced offense and a good pass defense. The Eagles have got strength at their skill positions.
Murray Allen is stopped by Ray Farmer.
Man, he stopped him too, didn't he? I mean, that's not just a tackle, that's a stop.
And it's also a loss of 2.
Watch Farmer hit Terry Allen. Now, Farmer's not, he's running up, it's a run blitz. You see him running through there, and he gets his shoulder right underneath Terry Allen, picks him up just the way they teach you to do it in Pee Wee. Just the way they teach you to do it. You do this drill, everybody who's played football's done it. You take the runner and he runs at you, you drive your shoulder under it, you lift him up, and you bring him down hard.
3rd down and 12. Farrat airs it out, and he overthrows Alvin Harper.
Kenny, Rhett Hall got him again. I mean, they've got to do something to account for him. This is what Mike Mamula needs as a counter. Watch this. Look at this. Right past Joe Patton. I mean, Rhett Hall has beaten him all day. Right on Farrat. That's outstanding. This guy has really stepped up his game today.
Matt Turk stepped up his game on his last punt. Season best 62 yards. Freddie Solomon back deep for the good hang time. Solomon calls for a fair catch at the 8. So Turk pins the Eagles with a 53-yard punt. Will return to Philadelphia. (24-10) Eagles. Huge series upcoming for the Redskins defensive corps, as the Eagles will start from their own 8-yard line. The combination of Ricky Waters and Kevin Turner has outgained the Redskins. continue to get the job done on the ground.
Yeah, and they're doing it up front. This is where the Redskins have struggled. Now, don't forget, Christmas is out. Kennard Lang is out. Watch this hole open up here. I mean, it's a double down. There's a nice block by Turner. It's just blocking. I mean, it's not that complicated. It comes down to a blocking. Here it is. Look at that. And then they seal it here. Turner gets a block. Joe Panos gets a block. And Ricky Waters runs free into the secondary.
12-yard gain. First down from the 20. Charlie Garner. Garner to the outside. Another first down for Garner. Forced out by Jesse Campbell.
Eagles did it again. They did the same thing going the other way.
Consecutive 12-yard runs for Garner.
Watch it. There's a hole. There's the double block down. Here's the pull. Here's the block by Turner. And the thing opens up. It opens up like a clam. Look at that thing right there. Nice block, too, by the tight end.
And inside the clam, the Eagles find a first down.
No pearl, but a first down. You got to go to an oyster for a pearl.
From the 32, Garner, this time up the middle. So we spoke about Waters and Turner, and it was Charlie Garner, 3 consecutive carries during this drive.
Kenny.
And he gains a combined 32 yards.
It's the same play. They're whipping him up front. Watch Panos come on the pull. Watch Turner with his block. Look at this. Look at this surge on the line. There it is, Jimmy Johnson, the tight end. They're just blasting Redskins back onto their heels. They're making it easy for Charlie Garner and Ricky Waters.
Garner, 7 carries, 45 yards. They began the drive on the 8. 3 plays later, the line of scrimmage is 40. Garner spins back to the line of scrimmage, and that is stopped by Philadelphia native and Lehigh University product Rich Owens, who attended Lincoln High School here in Philly. And it will be 3rd down for the Eagles.
I'll tell you, the Eagles offense today has just opened up a big, ugly hole in the hull of this Redskins ship. They have just shown everyone exactly the blueprint on how to attack the Redskins.
How about what Chris Dishman just did? The ball was placed in between the 40 and the 41, and Dishman just moved it back to the 40. The officials caught on.
Yeah, they usually catch that when you do it in the middle of the field.
Just nonchalantly move the football back. Detmer's pass complete to the tight end. The flag is thrown. Former Redskin Jimmy Johnson makes the catch in Washington territory. A gain of 14.
I'm glad to see Jimmy Johnson catch a ball because he's the best blocking tight end the Eagles have. And I like to see a guy who works hard in the run game all day, and then he gets a pass. They throw him a ball.
Holding defense number 92. Penalties decline. Result of the play. First down.
Jimmy Johnson, a 12th round draft pick of the Redskins back in '89. He was a member of their Super Bowl 26 club, but did not play in the Super Bowl due to an injury.
If you watch film, he's really played well. Now here's Jamal Duff, and here's the hold on Jason Dunn. See, Dunn tries to go out for a pass, and there it is right there. You see he grabs hold. I mean, Duff's just trying to hang on for his life. The way the Eagles have been knocking the Redskins defensive line off the ball, you got to expect them to hang on.
Redskins without 2 starters on the D-line. And the Eagles are over the 400-yard mark in total offense. 407 yards for the Eagles. Redskins 167.
I tell you, playing offensive line, playing in the line either side of the ball, there's not a lot, especially for offense, it's a ton of fun for you, you know, because you don't get a lot of glory. But you know what? These guys right here, they're having fun right now. You're having fun when your offense chalks up 409 yards. You're having fun when it's the end of the game, a 14-point lead. You're just running the ball. You're just hitting people in the mouth.
2nd down and 7. Waters in motion. Garner. Short gain this time. So the Eagles now staring at 3rd and about 5.
Joe Panos has run around a lot today on those pulls. He pulled again on this play. Watch what he does. Watch him come and hit Ken Harvey. You see this? Now this is fun. Now you may not think it's fun. Other people may not think it's fun, but he loves that. I mean, that's what gets an offensive lineman's heart beat. I mean, that, you know, kissing your wife or your girlfriend, that's one thing. But when you can hammer a linebacker into the turf, that's what you really get excited about.
Detmer on third down overthrows Freddie Solomon.
Well, Ty doesn't have to make the deep pass today. He has established himself. He's solidified himself. We talked earlier. Everyone talked all week. Is it going to be Rodney Peete? Pete got some extra reps in practice. Ray Rhodes said, I don't want to have Ty looking over his shoulder. You always have to admire a player, any player, especially a quarterback, when you know he's been under the gun, he's been under pressure, but he steps up and he gets the job done.
Brian Mitchell deep for the Redskins. Tom Hutton from midfield just got it off. And it takes an Eagles bounce. Another Eagles bounce inside the 5. So the Redskins with 96 yards to travel. 34-yard punt by Hutton. Tonight on Fox, Game 4 of the American League Division Series. The New York Yankees lead the Cleveland Indians 2-1 at 7 p.m. Join JB and the gang from Lambeau Field, followed by Chip Carey and Steve Lyons from Hollywood. It's the Yankees and the Indians tonight at 7, 4 Pacific. Flag thrown on first down as Barat. It's complete. Leslie Shepard. Shepard to midfield. Finally thrown down by Brian Dawkins, but keep in mind a flag was thrown 47 yards from Barat to Shepard. Shepard's first reception of the game. But it's all up to Gary Lane.
Offside. Defense number 93 lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties decline. First down.
I would think the Redskins would not even think about that one. Gary Lane checked to see if the penalty was declined.
Yep. Bobby Taylor actually gets picked by his own linebacker on that play, and that's all you have to do with Leslie Shepard. You give him just a little bit of something. You know, you give him a little piece of pie, he'd take the whole thing, and that's exactly what he did. He took the whole thing, and Barat now, this is the danger for the Philadelphia Eagles, because Barat's got a deep ball, and he's got some deep receivers.
And Barat is complete this time to Michael Westbrook. So first 47 yards from Barat to Shepard, and now Barat to Westbrook for a gain of 14 more.
I mean, the Eagles defense doesn't want to get too happy with themselves. I mean, everything's gone very well for them so far this game, but you have to remember, they're not playing against the Atlanta Falcons or the New Orleans Saints. They're playing against the Washington Redskins, and Gus Barat is dangerous with those receivers.
3 wide receivers. Barat on first down to the far side. The intended receiver was the tight end, Asher. Five and a half to go. Redskins in Dallas next Monday. Here's an interesting stat, Tim. As we check out Barat's numbers, the Redskins in 3 years under Norv Turner, they're 3-3 in games against the Cowboys, 0-6 the week before.
Little looking ahead syndrome,
perhaps,
possibly.
Redskins hope to change that over these next 5.5 minutes. 2nd and 10. Barat looking for Westbrook. He was bumped by Bobby.
Yeah, but that's the play Westbrook needs to make. We saw him make the big play earlier. He needs to make those big plays, play after play. You know, the Redskins are at an advantage. Howie Long actually talked about it in the pregame, and I'm surprised that I haven't seen more of this from the Redskins, the 3 wide receiver formation. They went to it early. You remember Charles Dimmery broke up the slant pass. After that, the Redskins kind of abandoned it. But coming into this game, they felt that that would be a very good matchup for them.
Redskins 3 of 11 on 3rd down. 3rd and 10. Rock over the top, off the fingertips of Westbrook.
That was catchable.
And the Redskins will go for it on 4th down.
The terrible thing about this is that Alvin Harper comes out and nobody's even around him. Now that's the safety valve. That's where Farrat goes if nothing else is there. But Norv Turner and Gus believe, hey, Westbrook made that big play earlier. He'll come through and he'll pull this ball down and get the 1st down.
4th and 10. On the Eagles 33. Play clock winding down.
Nailed it. Ray Rhodes told us yesterday, he said Richard Dent better bring the juice. I think he's still got some left, and if he doesn't start showing the juice now, he's not going to be around. Well, Richard Dent just showed a little juice.
And what did Rhodes tell us? We're not here to start an old folks home?
No, he doesn't want it. Now he doesn't have to worry about it. The Redskins have to worry about Farrat. He took a big hit on that play. Here he is, 2 sacks, 15 hurries, 8 times knocked to the ground. A lot of that, Rhett Hall. Now the old folk showing it. Look, right off the corner here, Darrell Ashmore, back up to Ed Simmons, comes right past him. Classic Dent. I think Asher really is the guy that hurt Farrat on that play. Unintentionally, of course, but I think it was Asher's shoulder that catches. Watch Asher here. You see, you're not going to see it on the shot. If we get the other replay, you'll see that, in fact, it's Asher who has the impact. Dent drives him into him. See that? Now everybody's celebrating because Dent just proved he's got it.
And his 15th National Football League season. Waters on 1st down as the Eagles look to wind down the clock. They lead by 2 touchdowns, 5 minutes to go.
There's Gus on the sideline getting checked out by the trainers and the doctors. Now here it is. Dent again races by and he gets Farrat. Now watch when he drives him. He gets him and he drives him, and right there, watch Asher is the guy who hits him right in the back of the head with his own helmet.
Ricky Waters across the 40. Waters on the day, 27 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Well, Kenny, Ray Rhodes knows that when he runs the ball, he wins. He said yesterday, I don't want to run it 20 times. I don't know if he knew this graphic here, but when he's 30 or more rushes, he's 18-2. When he's less than 30, he's 3-13. Look at the play selection here. Normally, this season, they've been 38% run, 62% pass. Today, it's 41 runs and only 27 passes.
There's run number 42, and it's a 1st down. Ricky Waters once again. So the drive continues, 3.5 remaining.
We popped that thing back into the computer, and it's still you gotta somehow calculate this. I'm gonna get somebody to calculate that. Pull out a calculator and figure out the percentages, because I think it's just about exactly the opposite.
Eagles looking to break their 2-game losing streak. 3 minutes to play. 1st down from the 46. Waters in Redskins territory, and it takes 4 red jerseys to bring him down.
You know what's impressive about Ricky Waters is the way he's kept his composure all season long. You know, last year at this time, he would have been bellowing all week long about how I need to get the ball, and he would be right. because he did need to get the ball, but they figured it out without him saying anything about it. And then he had the blowout there with Detmer on the sideline last week. It wasn't even Ricky's fault. Detmer instigated it, admitted it later, but they had to get him the ball. They did get him the ball, and that's why they're winning this football game.
97 yards for Waters. And this will bring us to the 2-minute warning from Veterans Stadium, with the Eagles leading the Redskins by the score of 24-10.
Miller Lite presents
John Gruden, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, likes to throw the football. We talked about it yesterday. I said, John, you got to run it. He said, I'm going to try to run it a little bit, but I still like to throw it. Look at this. Season average, 38% run, 62% pass. Today, the exact opposite, and the Eagles are winning a huge divisional game against the 3-1 Redskins. I got to believe that this is a big part of the answer.
Eagles 0-2 against the NFC East prior to this afternoon's game. Charlie Garner with a burst up the middle. So it will be 3rd down, and a timeout is called by the Redskins. 1:52 remaining. Not a pleasant afternoon for Gus Frerotte.
Animals Attack 4, Friday at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Back in Philadelphia, the great aerial shots you've been seeing throughout the afternoon are being brought to you by Fuji, the official audio and videotape of the NFL, and the great green Fujifilm blimp. Now, how many Trey Johnsons did you say you could fit in there?
I don't know, but it would take a lot of calculations. Take more calculations than figuring out the percentage of run and pass.
And that took 3. On 3rd down, Eagles look to run out the clock. Redskins have 1 timeout remaining, and they take it. 1:41 remaining. And there is Eagles coach Ray Rhodes. He was telling us yesterday, Tim, about his daughter Raven, 12 years of age, terrific soccer player, and Ray runs up and down the sidelines coaching her. And Raven said to Ray following last week's game, do you coach your players this hard? If you do, you'd be winning.
He must have. I'll tell you what, this guy coaches people hard. I think part of the reason why the Eagles were in such a desperate situation this week, being 1-3, is because Ray Rhodes created great expectations coming into this season. Going to 10-6, his first 2 years as a coach, going to the playoffs. The thing that this organization has got to do, though, is they've got to get more continuity in their personnel. They should have hung on to William Fuller. They need to keep their offensive line intact. Their offensive line looked great today. They need to keep going. Let those guys play together and then keep them intact in the offseason. They need to build around Detmer and Waters and Kevin Turner and find another wide receiver to complement Urban Clark.
They look to get Waters over the 100-yard mark, and they do. So Ricky Waters, his second 100-yard game this season, 22nd of his career. He scored 2 touchdowns today. The Eagles, a season-high 24 points, most allowed by the Redskins this year. 104 yards for Waters. The Redskins had averaged allowing fewer than 12.5 points per game. But the Eagles will make it 2-0 at home. They've lost all 3 of their road games. Mark down the date. The final game of the 1997, December 21st, is when these teams will meet again at Jack Kent Cooke Stadium.
Speaking of stadiums, Kenny, the Eagles facility is right here at Veterans Field. But thanks to really what was a groundbreaking marketing agreement with NovaCare here in Philly, the Eagles are looking forward to a new state-of-the-art training facility, a $60 million deal with NovaCare.
And I know their players will be very happy about that. Clock winding down, coming up on the NASDAQ Stock Market Postgame Report. All of the scores and highlights from around the National Football League, plus the Fox Sports ticker. That's coming up on the NASDAQ stock market post-game report. Tremendous job by our entire crew, our producer Rich Russo, director Mike Frank, statisticians Barry Hockhauser and Ben Bova. Norv Turner and the Redskins now 3-2. Ricky Waters, 104 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns as the Redskins defeat, or the Eagles defeat the Redskins for the 9th time in the last 10 games between the clubs by the score of 24-10. Our play of the game is brought to you by Energizer. One of 2 Ricky Waters touchdowns as the Eagles defeat the Redskins by the score of 24-10. We'll be back